Welcome to episode 8 of Out of Bounds, a podcast giving social commentary on different topics in our society. I'm your host, Terry, and today we're talking about the makeup debate. And kind of what I mean by that is a debate that I don't know if it's super old, but it's definitely one that's out there. This thought of, should women wear makeup? Should you want to have a woman that doesn't wear makeup? Would you be able to tell them not to wear makeup? You know, all these different things. And it's a debate that I definitely have with a few people in different areas and that we kind of talk about. So I'll put my cards on the table first. I would say that over the years, I developed a rule personally that if I'm interested in someone before getting into a relationship, very early on, I would like to see a picture of them without makeup. Now, that's assuming, of course, you know, with the way dating goes now, that you end up meeting somebody online or somewhere digital, who knows. And so you kind of get to know them through pictures. Or even if you meet someone in person, a lot of times you'll meet somebody that's kind of dressed to be outside, as they say. And so you want to see what they look like, as they say, first thing in the morning. And so that for me personally is one of the things I do, because I mean, I feel, and I've grown to feel, that you should know what it looks like bare bones, and not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, all those things, like what's really behind the curtain. And as we all know, all the emotional stuff and mental stuff, sometimes the person might not even know. And even if they do know, they're not just going to share with anybody. So you can't expect that all to be on the table. But physically, that's what we can see. That's one of the senses. We can see that. That's easy. And so I think it's fine to show somebody that, especially if you're talking about most men that are masculine. They won't have makeup on and they won't have these enhanced things. There's different things that can use to enhance, but not as much as makeup. And so if you're getting to see me kind of in that raw form, I want to see you in that raw form, because if we are going to go somewhere with this, eventually I'm going to have to see it. And so I don't want to learn about it later. I don't think it's a problem for me personally. I don't think it's a problem, because if I'm going to see you later in that form and you think it's bad enough to where it will change our relationship, then that's something I need to know up front. And if I was the type of person where that would change our relationship, I feel like that's something you would need to know up front, that I am that shallow about things. And, you know, it's a time saver for everybody. Would you really want to be talking with somebody, being with somebody for a good amount of time just to find out you don't really like the way they look without makeup? That's silly. I mean, that I put that on the same level of you wearing the same outfit all the time because I really like you in that outfit, and you scared to show me a different outfit because you feel like, oh, he might not like me in this outfit. So that's just kind of where I come from it with. I think early on it's fine to say, you know, I want to see what you look like first thing in the morning, or, you know, I want to see you without makeup. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to ask, but that's just my opinion. So anyway, going deeper into it, we talk about women in makeup, and then you look at some of the history, and it's not like I'm a historian or anything. It's things that I've come across, even just as early as this year, but you trace it back in America, and you're talking about, one of the societal changes where after World War II, there was the shortage of men. As we know, a lot of people died in the war and whatever. And that changed a whole lot of things as far as women working and the different skills they learned and all that. But one other thing it changed was kind of the romantic dynamic, where at first it was you want to kind of be the pure person and the virgin type girl, because the men had to choose. and you still could pick the guy you like, but you wanted to be married. You wanted to be the wife material type. You didn't want to be, something other than that. And then after the war, the second war, World War II, you had a point where, basically there wasn't enough men. And so for the first time, men were really the buyer's market, if you will. There's a lot of women left, but not enough men to settle down. And at the time, you're still talking about, a world where you couldn't really support yourself without a man most times. And then not only that, but the thought was you want to get married and have kids. So you wanted to have a man, but it wasn't enough men to go around. And so they trace it back, and that was around the first time that you start seeing the word like sexy used and created and used in marketing. But that's also when cosmetics came out. And so for the first time, women were now encouraged to be more attractive and appealing to stand out from the other women to get men to choose them. And again, that's a whole different time, but that's kind of where it all kicked off. So then that became a big industry, cosmetics and selling makeup to enhance your features so you can get chosen by a man. So that's where it all comes from when you look at the background of it. And so then you fast forward to today, and when you have, or at least when I have this debate, one of my first questions is just, okay, ask yourself why. And that's in most things in life. Continue to ask yourself why, and you'll get to some good answers. Why is it that you want to, like, you're enthusiastic about this makeup? So say I'm talking to somebody that is 100% against me, like makeup all day, there's no problems. Okay, well, what is it about makeup that you like? And it's not always the same thing. Of course, it's not always going to be about attracting people. Some people, it is diverse now, I would say. There's some people that are very artistic with the makeup and really use it in that sense, where they try different things out with it. They want to, kind of, I don't know, like I said, be more artistic with it, I would say. And then of course there's people that just say, I like the way it makes me feel. And no one can really deny the fact of confidence and the euphoria and all the positive feelings that come, psychologically in our brain when we have that type of confidence. So you can't deny the feeling of feeling confident and what that does for you. But then the question is, well, why do you feel more confident that you are wearing makeup? And there can be different discussions about that. And I'm not going to speak for anyone because no one's here to defend it. But I would guess that more times than not, when you dig through, why do you feel confident? It's because, I feel more attractive. And, I feel like I'm beautiful. So I've heard people say, something about, I'm not, maybe not phrasing it right, but something about, makeup allows me to look the way that I feel. And I just have a problem with that. Honestly, I have a problem with that because ignoring the whole subjective part of it where feelings are dominating everything, that's a whole nother discussion. But why is it that you have to put so much stock into your looks to then dominate how you feel about yourself? It almost seems like it should be the other way. So you're saying you feel one way about yourself. You feel pretty, I guess. You feel beautiful. You feel expressive, aggressive. I don't know, whatever it is. And so you're using your aesthetic to then convey that. And so then you're almost using the aesthetic as a more important tool because it's sensory. I get it. People see it. That's what we see. But still at the same time, I don't know that your aesthetic needs to validate how you feel, because even if you aren't quote unquote showing what you feel, does that mean you feel it less? Does that mean what you feel is less important? I just don't know if that's true. So, I mean, but we're in a world where the cosmetic things with the makeup, it does play a part with trying to be attractive to somebody that you want to be attractive to. It doesn't have to be female, male. Of course, it could be different ways now. But whoever you're trying to attract, that's what that makeup usually is for. And again, like I said, there's other people that feel different ways for other ways, but more times than not, we're talking about attracting somebody. And so you don't have to go much further than YouTube itself. You look at some of the highest viewed videos, it's going to be video games, number one for all times probably. But then you look at it and makeup is in that top echelon where the makeup tutorials in the, any type of fashion, hairstyle, makeup tutorials is big. That is absolutely big because that is how much it matters. And then, I don't have the numbers here. This is more of a conversation, but I would venture to say if you look at the cosmetic industry, that's probably one of the most profitable industries out there. You look at, and I honestly do not know the Kardashians. I don't know none about them, but you look at the Jenner, the Jenner. It's Kylie or Kendall. I don't know which. I don't. But whichever one does the makeup, she's, there's the dispute about her being a billionaire and all that, but she make money. That's all we know. She make big money and she does makeup. And so it is absolutely, I think, a dead argument to say that, there's not an issue with makeup. I wouldn't say issue, but that makeup isn't prevalent in our society. So you might not think it's an issue, but to say that most female identifying people are in the makeup game, you would be lying to disagree with that. So there's that. That's the societal context. Makeup is here, it's there. So why do I feel the way I feel about it, at least being on the other side? Honestly, again, like I said, I don't mind people wearing makeup. But I think for me personally, and I think for other people, it should be important to know who you are without it. Just like any other thing, any title, any identifier, you need to know who you are without that. So I don't want to be, just, Terry, the football player. I used to play football. I don't now, but Terry, the football player. And we see that in the NFL with a lot of athletes. It's like some people don't know what they are without that. Even you're talking about Greeks, people who don't know who they are without their Greek organization, fraternity or sorority. And then people with their status and their title. Terry the doctor. Who am I if I'm not a doctor? And, that's kind of my title. All types of things. And we use these identifiers as they're part of who we are and they're part of our identity, but some people make it all they are. That's an extreme example, but still kind of the same concept. So then I think it's important again to know who you are outside of that, because I honestly feel as if, you can become something different. And I think that's kind of where this conversation heads, is that if makeup wasn't so sophisticated, and this kind of falls in line too with Photoshop and photo filters and all that other stuff, if it wasn't so sophisticated, I would probably feel different. But makeup has been really good for a long time and it has only grown. And so while people will tell you, like, you got the right to feel how you feel, you definitely got the right to feel how you feel. You got the right to use makeup. No one's saying that there should be a law banning it. But at the same time, you should be able to agree and recognize the level that this stuff can do. Because I've seen, and this is through makeup, but also through technology, but I have met people that I've seen their pictures, and we all know people curate their pictures and make it look the best. But I'm talking about night and day. Two completely different people as far as my eyes are concerned. Now, I know other females, they'll say, well, I could tell. And I'm like, look, some things I can tell, some things I'm not. I'm not here. I shouldn't be an investigative reporter. I just should be able to see you and know that's you. I seen pictures, and then, you talking about that meme, what you bought versus what they gave you, man. And it's not even a bitter thing of deception. That there's definitely some of that in there, but it's not even that. It's just like, why would you present yourself? I'm not even mad you tried to deceive me. Why would you present yourself knowing you don't look like that? Like, you don't look anything like that. And so I just think about what is the mental, history behind that? What are the factors that go behind somebody wanting to do that? Because again, as a masculine man, there's things definitely you can do, but it's nothing compared to makeup. I'm sorry with whatever people want to say, because you got, again, we have our, very different genders today. You got men. Even back then, before now, when, it was just drag queens. I brought up Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, before, with John Leguizamo, Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes. You had drag queens way back then. And again, those three look like men, but still, you have some men that could get away with it. And today, every man, if you shave them up and use makeup, you can get away with them looking like a woman. And to me, that's dangerous, because again, you can look nothing like what you present. And so when you present yourself in face to face, or even without makeup face to face, or even through a picture, and you look completely different, then the question is, what was the point? Because eventually we're going to find out who you are, physically. And if you're so far different than what you've been showing off, then I'm sorry, but logically I'm left to believe that you were just doing this and to attract somebody and hide behind that. So again, people talk about, and I would like anybody to explain it, but people talk about looking the way you feel. That's wrapped up in beauty standards. That's wrapped up in society and what they tell you beautiful is, because we all know conventional wisdom, which is things you should pay attention to. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But also, nobody has a stronger opinion of you than you. So yes, somebody could look at you, 10 people could look at you and see something different. Somebody might see something beautiful. But at the end of the day, it really don't matter, because your opinion should be the strongest. And that's self-validation, which is another conversation. But still, that should be the strongest. And so when you show me, okay, I look like this level, but then when I actually see you, you look like that level, that just makes me feel like you're not confident and you hiding behind something that's not real. And so, I don't know, it's hard for me. And again, there's probably people that can explain how they feel about it, but for me, it's not real. And I'm not good with things that are not real on any level, and I just feel like makeup's not real. I mean, because if you could wipe it off at the end of the day and look completely different, or look any bit different, then it's just not real. And so makeup was prevalent back then when it first came out. And if you watch The Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon Prime, great show, they had a few snippets, and you've seen in different movies, where it's like this idea that women would fake like they're going to sleep. Once they go to sleep, they wake up and wipe their makeup off, and then they wake up early to put it on and do their hair and act like they woke up like that. And it started from a very I would say barbaric place where women felt they had to stay impressive all the time. Otherwise they wouldn't keep a man. And that's coming from me as a male. I say that's barbaric. It definitely is old school. Like, you can still believe in patriarchy and men as the provider and all that. That's fine. I'm not disparaging anybody that still wants to live that life, but still it's barbaric to think that you have to stay impressive for somebody that isn't staying impressive for you. And so I don't know. It tips the scales. I don't see a way that it makes sense, because you're talking about a lot of people that will tell you feminism, female liberation, all that is the ability to choose. Of course, everybody wants the right to choose. So if I want to wear makeup all the time and I want to look a different way and use the Snapchat filters and all the Photoshop, if that's the way I want to present myself, then it's my right to choose it. True. I don't want a law to take away your right, but I don't think that's what real liberation is for anybody. I think real liberation is in self-value. And so if you say, I just want to do this and it's my right, you shouldn't be able to question me, I don't think that's actually answering the question. Because again, why are you doing? Why? I mean, you could say, I'm not looking for a man. I'm single. I just like the way I look with this makeup. Well, then that kind of tells me you don't like the way you look without the makeup. And if you can't come to terms with that, then what are the other things you can't come to terms with? You know what I mean? So that could be so many things. It doesn't even have to be women with makeup. It could be a man with a $3,000 watch. I don't like who I am without this watch. Like, I would say to the dude the exact same thing. Why is it that you feel you need that watch? What are you not coming to terms with? So I see some women that I've talked to immediately attack it, like you being misogynistic or you're just trying to control women. It's about controlling women. No, it is not. It started as a way to control women and to force them into that patriarchy where they had to please a man. And you can say we took it and changed it. I don't know if that's true, but what I'm asking you about makeup is not me trying to control you. That's really me trying to push you to be even more elevated. I'm not saying you need to listen to me to know what you should do. I'm actually saying if you push yourself, you don't need anybody to tell you what you should do except yourself. And so, I don't know. I think it just goes back to that whole validation piece and really understanding what your value is, who you are without that. Because America, the media, society, social media has told you what it looks like to be beautiful, to be cute, and all these things. And so when you say I look cute, of course, you're not comparing yourself to every single person out there in media, but you still formed your idea of what cute is from what you've seen around you in society. And so if your idea of cute only comes when you're wearing extra makeup or you're wearing things that are extra to your natural beauty, then, you got to question that. I think you got to question that. I mean, and I think this conversation for me personally goes the same thing with any, aesthetics, whether it be, weave extensions, whether it be wigs, whether it be, any of that stuff. Definitely plastic surgery. That's a whole nother extreme. And we know why people do those things. And so, I mean, you save up the money, you say, I'm going to do this for me because I've never liked the way this looked. And so I'm going to fix it and feel good about myself. That's fine. You could feel good because you look the way you feel. But I think that's detrimental. I don't think that's a good thing to sit here and judge how you feel about yourself based off your aesthetics. That's me personally. So anyway, I'm going to wrap that up. That's a long conversation. Actually, we could talk more, but I love to hear what everybody else has to say. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, get the convo started. And until next episode.